I guess good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for being here. I met with Coach MacIntyre this morning and informed him that I had made the decision to bring new leadership for our football team. It was a difficult decision because Mike is a knowledgeable coach and he has really elevated this football team since he arrived in 2013. And that's not just wins and losses. He's focused on guiding young men to be good citizens, good fathers, and husbands down the road. He's put a great emphasis on the academics, and his record GPAs are proof to that. Mike also believed in community service and led by example alongside his players. He and his teams work with the Be the Match program, which earned the school much national recognition. So what this came down to is that I wanted to see more consistency with winning seasons. Mike had an amazing 2016 season, and we really hoped that that kind of achievement would be continuous. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. So I will immediately begin the process of seeking a new head coach. I want to move quickly, but I also want to be very thorough to ensure that we get this football team back to national prominence. In the days and weeks ahead, I will not be commenting on the search until we have identified a new coach and we are ready to announce that. I would caution people to not go to social media for where I'm at, as I'll make sure that as I make a decision that I inform people, and when you hear it from me, then you'll know that it's the accurate information. Questions? Oh, thanks.
Rick, I guess why today as opposed to last week or even next week after the last game?
Well, it came down, at some point, right? I came to the decision last night. I met with the chancellor this morning to inform him of my decision. I talked to Mike late after that, and it was just in my gut, it was the right thing. I wanted to do it now. I wanted to create a new energy for our football team. I can tell you, having met with our team earlier this morning, they're excited about this game this weekend. We want to go to a bowl game. That's what we're committed to. And I'm more energized after being around our student athletes this morning. And, it was just, in my opinion, it was a decision that I think I needed to make. And that's why I came to that decision last night and informed the chancellor this morning.
You talked about wanting to see more consistency out of winning. Was there a point when you saw this coming? Was the Oregon State game something that kind of played into this?
Look, I'm no different than most of our fans and our student athletes and our coaches. I think we were all disappointed after the Oregon State game. But again, I went into Mike on Monday and said, I support you. We have confidence in you. But as the next 3 weeks went by, in my gut, it told me that I needed to make a decision and I needed to bring on new leadership. I'm excited about the future of this football program with the student athletes that we have coming back and with the recruits that are out there. And I just felt like making a decision today gets me involved in hiring that new coach quicker.
Rick, obviously when you make a decision like this, it affects more than just Mike MacIntyre. It affects the staff, it affects the team. And I'd imagine walking in and talking to that group of young men this morning, guys in the roster, that's probably a tough conversation. Can you tell us kind of how that went and how those guys accepted the information?
Yeah, it's the worst part of my job, right? Is to have to make a decision on a coaching change because it's not just the coach, it's those around him, it's people around the program. It's a hard decision to make. Telling the student athletes this morning wasn't easy, but I know where I want this program to go. I want to win Pac-12 championships. I want to win national championships, and I'm committed to that. And this is one of the great jobs in all of sport, to be able to go to school at the University of Colorado, to play in Folsom Field with that backdrop, to be in the conference that we're in, there's not a better job in America than here at Colorado. And so I'm committed to hiring the very best coach we can, and we're going to begin that search immediately. Yes, ma'am.
Speaking of that, what will you look for in a new head coach now?
You know, the most important thing is I want a coach that cares for the student athletes. That's why we come to work every day. We want to create this great experience for our student athletes. And so I want a coach that can be on the same level, that can talk to the players. I want them to be a great coach. They've got to be a great recruiter. At the end of the day, you need great student athletes on your team. And I want somebody that's got the right character, the right integrity, that are going to do things the right way. But most importantly, I want a coach that comes in here that sees the same passion about this place that I do. And I want somebody that's going to come in here and guide these young men to great things in the future.
Rick, in the last week or so, Mike has maintained that he hasn't felt any pressure for his job. How did he take it this morning? Was he surprised?
No, I don't. Look, Mike handled it with class, as you would expect, and we had a conversation, and you'll have to ask him, but he handled it with class, and that's what I expected from him. It's not an easy decision for myself, and it certainly was not easy for him to hear, I'm sure.
You said you made the decision last night. Did it have to do with the loss or the way the game was handled after or something after the press conference?
No, it really wasn't any of that. It was kind of more of a culmination of kind of where we were at that point. And sometimes, you think about things. I try to be, I'd like to have waited for the end of the season, but I just felt like I needed to make the decision now to maybe put some new energy in this team because we still got a lot to play for. And we're going to go out there and try to win and go to a bowl game. And that's our challenge, and that's our charge, and that's the charge I gave to the coaches this morning.
Rick, I guess, could you walk us through a little bit your decision-making process? Obviously, last year, I guess ultimately a disappointing result, but was the Oregon State, in any sense, a bit of a tipping point for you? I mean, how do we kind of get to this point?
No, one game's not going to define how I make a decision. It's really the body of work. I was disappointed in last season. I don't think anybody around me doesn't know that because I want to win. I want our student athletes to win. I want them to be successful. And we're doing so many great things, but we hadn't won. And then when we get to this year, we're off to a great start, right? 6 weeks ago, we're 5-0, and we're one of the talks of the country. That's where Colorado should be every year, in every season. We should be the talk of the country. And we're not there, and that's why I made the decision, because we need to be the talk of the country in a positive way, and that's doing great things in the classroom, in the community, and on the playing surface.
Rick?
Yes, ma'am.
You referred to 2016 as a magical season.
I do.
And in your statement, in hindsight, do you kind of look back and think maybe that was too much magic, and you could have, with the delay in the contract, that give you a little bit of time to not have moved forward with such a big contract for so long?
Look, I don't have any regrets about where we were and what we did in 2016. We did have a magical year. We won some games that were tough games for us to win. We won when we had to win. And we had a coach that was the National Coach of the Year. And absolutely would have done the same thing today that I did back then. He deserved it, and his staff deserved that, and again, I got no regrets.
Rick, excuse me. I think unlike when Mac got here, I don't think this would be described as a complete rebuild for any coach that's coming in here. You've got the indoor practice facility in place now. For whoever comes in here, will there be an expectation or maybe some pressure to get results immediately?
Well, look, I think we've got an incredibly talented young football team, and I think we lose sight of that. I haven't. And I think it's important that we get somebody in here that has the same expectations I do, and that's to win. And I think we've got enough talent on this football team that we can beat anybody at any time. And again, that's why I made the decision, because I want somebody to come in to instill some energy and some enthusiasm into this team. Yes, ma'am.
For the second straight year, we have an early signing period for high school seniors playing football.
Yeah, who
Did-
made that decision? No.
Right, seriously. Did that have any, I guess, clout or any weight to your decision, knowing that we have some recruits who are already committed to play here, and there is a chance now with a new coach they could change their minds?
It certainly did come into play. Obviously, if we had a February signing date, maybe some of your decisions that you make are a little bit different. But knowing that that's on the horizon, that we have student athletes that are going to be visiting in a couple weeks, again, I think the extra week will allow us to go out and have those conversations. But you choose University of Colorado because of the history and tradition of this program, the community that we live in, the school that we learn in. I mean, that's why you come here, and none of that's changed. And so the early recruiting does have an impact on what we're doing, for sure.
Rick, obviously, this leaves some uncertainty for all those assistant coaches as well. Will you have any recommendations to the next head coach about keeping some of these guys, or do you leave that up to the head coach?
Well, again, I'll leave it up to the head coach. I'll certainly have some discussions with the head coach, whoever it is, as we're going through this process. I think we've got some terrific coaches on this football staff. And I'll make sure that whomever I'm talking to knows the quality of the people that we have on our coaching staff and in our department.
You talk about having terrific coaches on the coaching staff. Would you consider hiring from within for this new head coach, or no?
I'm going to look at everything. So I'll look within our staff, and I'll also look outside of our staff. And again, once we get to the point where it's time to make an announcement, then we'll see where it ends up.